The story begins with Nicholas, a young man who has just completed his medical studies and is searching for a job. Before starting, he spends the day having fun with his friends. When he returns home, his father suggests that he work with him. Nicholas feels a familiar fear, knowing that working with his father would trap him in a life he doesn't want. That night, he makes a decision. He will go wherever his finger lands on a globe. It stops on Uganda. The next day, he sets off to pursue his dreams, determined to use his medical knowledge to make a real difference. Nicholas wants to help those who cannot afford proper health care rather than serve the wealthy. In Uganda, he will work alongside Dr. David, who runs a local hospital. On the way, he encounters soldiers armed with weapons. They explain that they are the general's troops and that seeing them is routine. There is no reason to panic. Wandering through the unfamiliar city streets, Nicholas finds himself captivated by the vibrant life around him. He eventually reaches his destination, where he meets Sarah, Dr. David's wife. Witnessing the extreme poverty of the local population, his heart aches. People often have only one meal a day, despite living in a country with ample resources that are largely taken by outsiders. Over time, Nicholas begins to integrate with the locals and grows fond of them. One day, someone informs him that the president will be visiting and invites him to attend. Nicholas agrees and, with Sarah, goes to see Idi Amin deliver a speech, promising that Uganda will become the richest country in the coming years. In return, he merely asks for their votes. However, voting is a sham. Anyone who opposes Idi Amin is either executed or falsely accused and imprisoned. This has been the pattern for years, and Sarah, who has lived there for a long time, is well aware of it. They leave the speech early, but their car is stopped by Idi Amin's soldiers. The president has been injured after colliding with a farmer's bull. Nicholas quickly tends to his wounds, applying bandages and ensuring he is stable. Meanwhile, the bull continues to harass them, forcing Idi Amin to shoot it in order to prevent further injury. Nicholas acts calmly, showing both skill and compassion in the chaotic scene. The onlookers were astonished as Nicholas suddenly picked up Idi Amin's gun. He was equally surprised and asked Nicholas if he was British. Nicholas replied that he was from Scotland, matching the shirt he was wearing. Amin laughed and said he liked Scottish people very much. He offered to trade his uniform for Nicholas's shirt. Nicholas agreed, and they exchanged clothes. The next day, the health minister came to meet Nicholas and informed him that Idi Amin wanted to see him. Nicholas agreed and got into the car. Along the way, villagers recognized him and gathered around the vehicle, making Nicholas feel appreciated and seen by the local people. Arriving at the presidential mansion, Idi Amin thanked Nicholas for treating him the previous day and offered him a position as his personal doctor. Nicholas declined politely, explaining that he wanted to continue helping the poor villagers who struggled daily for survival. Amin insisted he attend a party that evening, but promised to release him the next day. Nicholas agreed. That night, Nicholas attended the party, which was filled with the city's elite. Idi Amin personally introduced him to the guests, including his 3 wives and several British high command officers. Nicholas spent hours in conversation with the officers while Amin delivered his speech to the crowd. After the party ended, an aide informed Nicholas that Idi Amin was unwell and needed his help. Rushing to him, Nicholas found Amin clutching his stomach in severe pain. Recognizing the signs of acidity, he treated him with nearby gas tablets. Amin had initially suspected poisoning, but Nicholas's care quickly stabilized him. During this time, Amin shared stories about his life, revealing he had once served in the British Army under harsh conditions with no food or proper clothing. Listening to him, Nicholas felt sympathy and respect for the man who had risen so far from humble beginnings. The next day, Nicholas told Sarah that he would remain in Uganda to continue this work rather than return home. Sarah was surprised, but understood the importance of his decision. When Idi Amin learned that Nicholas would stay, he was pleased and instructed the health minister, Johanna, to assign him a workplace. Nicholas gradually learned the workings of the hospital and adapted to the local systems. One day, he met British High Command Officer Stone, who assured him that he could request any assistance he needed and that Stone would always remain in touch. Nicholas didn't fully understand why Idi Amin spoke the way he did and didn't pay much attention at the time. Over time, their friendship grew stronger, and they often went everywhere together. Amin began consulting Nicholas on various decisions. But one day, everything changed. A sudden explosion rocked the city, and a guard rushed to tell Nicholas that Idi Amin's daughter was gravely ill. Rushing to her, Nicholas found her experiencing a severe seizure. He insisted she be taken to the hospital, but leaving immediately wasn't safe. Using a sleeping injection, he stabilized her under the supervision of Amin's 3rd wife. Nicholas asked when Amin would arrive. She said he wouldn't come, and if he did, it would only be for his daughter, not for Nicholas. Later, when Amin learned that Nicholas had saved his daughter's life, he was overjoyed. In gratitude, he gifted Nicholas a Mercedes. Nicholas was thrilled, and Amin jokingly asked for the first ride. That day, Amin needed to go to the airport and took the car, followed by his military convoy. On the way, attackers ambushed the vehicle, likely expecting Amin to be inside another car. Luck was on Amin's side. He survived unharmed. Upon reaching the airport, he scolded his officers, suspecting an insider had leaked his route. Amin then summoned Nicholas and assigned him the role of personal advisor. Meanwhile, a soldier reported that the attackers had been captured. Angrily, Amin demanded to know why anyone would try to sabotage the country's progress, insisting that any opposition should challenge him in an election. The opposition leader, Abatu, had been imprisoned on a false charge, preventing him from running. Amin remained unsure how the attackers had known his route. Noticing that Johanna was absent, Sarah began to suspect her involvement. Later, Amin hosted a function featuring traditional dancing. During the event, he watched Nicholas closely but remained silent. One night at a bar, Sarah spotted Johanna conversing with a foreigner and reported it to Amin, who was shocked. The situation was puzzling because Johanna had been a trusted confidant. Days passed without further updates, but Nicholas continued interacting with the locals and Sarah. During this period, Stone arrived and showed Nicholas a newspaper headline about a judge passing a bill related to Amin, signaling potential legal complications and drawing Nicholas further into the political tensions surrounding the president. Nicholas exploded when he heard Idi Amin had been missing for 3 days. He accused the officers of resenting the president's success and scolded them for blind loyalty that ignored the country's real problems. Stone replied harshly, saying blind followers fail to see what their nation has become, and urged Nicholas to speak with the health minister if he wanted the truth. The remark lodged in Nicholas's mind. He announced he needed to return to Scotland for a few days, but Amin refused, insisting Nicholas stay to help build the country he'd promised to uplift. Amin embraced him like kin, and Nicholas, moved and uneasy, stayed. A single warning at a party finally pushed Nicholas to check his passport. He discovered his Scottish passport had been swapped for a Ugandan one with his photo, and many other documents were missing. Panic set in. He raced to Stone for help. Stone reminded him that he had once promised support, but admitted this was no simple rescue. The regime buried dissenters and fed bodies to jackals and crocodiles. Entire villages had been cleared, opposition leaders had been silenced, and even the health minister had been murdered after pleading for help. Shocked and terrified, Nicholas begged to be extracted, and Stone said only someone close to Amin could move freely enough to do it. Nicholas understood the implication. His access to Amin made him the only realistic conduit, yet he refused to become an assassin. Meanwhile, the country frayed further. Rumors about Amin spread, illness rose among the people, and tensions spiked. In a dramatic move, Amin accused the British government of betrayal and announced punitive measures. He declared that all Asian residents had 90 days to leave or face lethal consequences. The proclamation ignited panic. Nicholas was deeply troubled because Kay was pregnant and had revealed Amin's betrayal to him. On the way, some of Amin's men intercepted him, claiming the president had summoned him. Carrying his bag, Nicholas approached Amin, who was agitated by negative media coverage. Everyone around was criticizing him, which he could not tolerate. He turned to Nicholas for advice. Nicholas advised that Amin hold a press conference to set the record straight, explaining all the work he had done and countering the false reports. Amin approved and called the press immediately. Meanwhile, Nicholas rushed to Kay's home to inform her that the men were taking her to the hospital. When he arrived, silence enveloped the place. Outside a room, a few guards were stationed. Inside, Nicholas found Kay's body grotesquely mutilated, her limbs swapped in a horrifying display. Overcome with grief, he ran straight to Amin, who handed him an unknown tablet, claiming it was for his headache, and then walked away. Musa, one of Amin's associates, grew suspicious and ordered Nicholas stopped by security. He was brought back inside, where Amin questioned him. Nicholas had no immediate explanation. Amin was then informed that some terrorists had hijacked an Israeli plane heading toward Uganda. He rushed to the airport, leaving the tablet behind. As Nicholas tried to retrieve it, Musa intercepted and took it, attempting to give it to a soldier to test for poison. Nicholas intervened just in time, preventing the soldier from ingesting it. Johanna, now convinced something was amiss with the tablet, ordered her men to beat Nicholas severely. Amin soon arrived, revealing he knew about Nicholas and Kay. He demonstrated the brutal punishments in his village by piercing Nicholas's skin and suspending him on a hook, watched helplessly by his friends. Once Amin left, Nicholas quickly tended to his wounds. Amin then informed him that an Israeli plane was returning soon. Nicholas had to board it to expose the atrocities in Uganda to the world. Recognizing that his white skin would lend credibility, he hid among the passengers. Amin's men returned to search but found Nicholas missing. Amin's men scoured everywhere, questioning even the doctor who had helped Nicholas, but the doctor revealed nothing and paid with his life. By the time Amin realized Nicholas had escaped, the plane was already airborne and there was nothing he could do. In this way, Nicholas finally escaped the hellish environment that had once seemed like paradise. This entire story is based on true events. Idi Amin is remembered as one of the most brutal rulers in history, driven by an insatiable thirst for power. In his obsession, he caused the deaths of 300,000 of his own citizens and forced 600,000 Asians to flee the country, including 200,000 Indians who contributed 70% of the nation's taxes.